biggest and the most important trait of a successful sales professional is that you are not selling, you are solving. I think that is the most important part, right? And for that to happen, the most important thing is not talking, is listening. I have also personally learned this a little late in my sales career, but I'm glad I learned it, right? And hence sharing that with you. Because when I came into sales, I thought it's all about talking and all about selling, but it's actually about listening and solving. I personally believe that people should be very, very comfortable with the CRM systems which they have in their companies. And when I say comfortable with the CRM systems, it's not just about updating the deals and everything. What I'm emphasizing on is the part of the reporting part. See, because when you look at the reports, you are able to analyze how is your funnel moving, what is happening, where are the drop-offs happening, is it an industry perspective, is one industry selling better than the other industry, are there a particular solution which are selling better than any other solution. So only when you are able to analyze, I always believe that the more data you analyze, the better outcomes you're able to deliver, right? Because when you measure, that is when you can improve. So in addition to doing all of the social selling and other things, I believe the most important for a sales professional is how data oriented can they be. That is one of the parts. The other thing I believe is for every sales professional to elevate themselves beyond what products the company has to what problems they can solve for, right? Because product is product, problem is a bigger thing. And if you are able to, and for you to identify that problem, you have to do a lot of external research, you have to read annual reports, you have to listen to annual earning calls, you have to maybe subscribe to newsletters from NASCOM or something else. So the more effort you do in uplifting your business acumen, if I say, right? Because this is, when you learn product, you're learning about your company. When you're learning business acumen, you're learning about your customer's business, right? Their priorities, what matters to them, what are they talking about is the focus. Because all of that then translates into how you can solve for that. So these are the few things I would say if sales professionals focus on, I think they will be great. So I think the most important thing for sales professional is to at least have your if I may say, hand in both the quarters. Never lose sight of the quarter which is coming, which essentially means what are the deals I'm going to be closing in the next quarter? What are the renewals which are there in the next quarters? What are the opportunities which are in the next quarter, right? And at the same time, focused on closing this quarter high. And if possible, starting the other quarter with a good pipe beforehand in this quarter. So what happens is I've seen people who have done exceptionally well in sales. They're always in 2 quarters. They're not in 1 quarter. So to answer your question, anybody who is successful, right, and the people on this call who will realize and who will relate to that, okay, I'm a successful salespeople. I'm 100% sure that they are not just focusing on how they will end December. They would have already planned how their March is going to end. Right? That is how. Always stay in 2 quarters and you will be taken care of. Because if you just play quarter on quarter, that is where chances of misses happen. And that's what it's something which we should all avoid. Yeah. So I think what happens is it's not easy. Doing it in person is obviously much easier if you ask me frankly. But I think people are able to understand and connect over calls as well. But the whole point is, I think, are they looking at you as somebody selling? Or as I keep using this word, are they looking at somebody who's solving? Till the time you are coming across as somebody who's solving, they will close with you irrespective of a call or in person, right? It only becomes difficult if you are a seller to be able to sell virtually, right? Because there's no value, which you're able to bring except the fact that, we have 10,000 customers who use us and hence you should also use us, right? That doesn't help, right? What is your unique problem and how do we address that problem? You focus on that. The customer will buy irrespective of not having any logos also with you, right? So that is, I think, my focus. Salespeople most of the times get it wrong, thinking sales is about selling. It's about solving. It's not about selling. You solve, sales will automatically happen. I think one of the things which I would love to do during such a scenario is to ask the customer that if they do not do this today, then is there a better way of them doing it? If not, what is the cost impact or what is the opportunity miss of not doing it, right? Because if there is a better way of doing it with us, right, we can help reduce some things for them, right? Let's say we can help reduce the number of days they take to do some time. That can lead to higher efficiencies. Maybe they can do with lesser people, or the current people can become more productive, right? It can lead to higher revenues and those kind of things, right? So the objection handling, I think the technique is more about, you ask them that if you do not do it this today, right, what happens? Or at times it's also about, okay, forget about the commercials part of it, right? Because a lot of times customers, they don't want to take it forward because of the commercials. You say, okay, forget the commercials, assume you have this, what we are talking about, or how we can solve this problem. What will it improve for you, right? And they will say, okay, this will improve perhaps this for me, this will improve perhaps this for me, this will have this for me. And then the follow-up question for that would be, could you quantify all these things which you said which will improve for you in a commercial perspective, right? Maybe they'll throw some number to you, and in all likelihood that number, if it's more than the number which you are asking for, it is logical because it's ROI. If all the maths they have done doesn't add up to the number which you are asking, then maybe the problem is not that big enough for your solution to solve for, right? So that is how I would look, right? So if I'm asking for some 100K, is it solving a $1 million problem for my customer, right? And if they're able, if either I am able to help them visualize where that 1 million effectiveness is coming from, or impact or outcome is coming from, or if they are able to come up with that 1 million and I am able to showcase that I'm only asking for 100K, it's a 10x impact, right? But if they come up and say, Adi, with whatever you have said, it's just going to help me max say 50K, and you're asking for 100K, we know that there is no way the customer would want to buy it. So objection handling has to be done a little more, where you kind of get them to, I think, doing some mental maths, mota. Because at the end of the day, when it has to be bought, nobody buys just because I like something, right? Generally, it's about what will it save. So there is this cost benefit analysis which happens. So kind of lead them to have that discussion, either help them with a number from your side, from a business case perspective, or ask them to come with a number and then work around that. That's how I would say. We'll feel that it's challenging, right? And if you ask me, right, the reason why they come across as challenging is not because they just don't like you or something like that, right? It's not about that. The reason they come across as challenging perhaps is, so we have to understand why are they coming with that mindset, right? Are they already having something which really works for them and they don't want it to be disrupted, right? It could be a long-term partnership, it could be a strategic partnership or play, something like that, right? The other thing could be that they're not really able to understand what you are trying to solve for and differentiate for. Third thing, you've not been able to establish that trust with them to be able to trust you with having a further discussion. So challenging customers, I think the whole philosophy is that what is really how can you get them on board, right, with you? I think that is what we need to focus on, and it takes time to get challenging customers on your side. But in my experience, what I've realized is that the moment the challenging customers come around, right, they become the biggest advocates of yourselves. So it takes a lot of effort and a lot of time. And a lot of times what I've realized is that if there is a challenging customer, right, and I keep saying this in sales, sales is not a solo sport. Sales is like cricket and football, where 10, 11 people. Involve everybody in your organization to engage that person. Maybe the person is challenging because the person doesn't want to talk to you, because the person possibly feels that I'm at this level, you are at this level, I don't want to talk. So you solve for it. You get somebody from your company at that level and they talk, right? So there are multiple reasons. Sometimes people are worried about what this will bring to you, right? Will this lead to elimination of their job? Can this be a problem? Because there is so much of automation and other things happening in today's world, right? People are fearful. Bhai, kahin mera hi kuch to nahi ho jayega, right? Kind of a thing. So how do you comfort them and all? So the whole point is, and how does it add value, right? Have them speak to different people. So challenging customers will always be there, but I think the more the way to deal with them differs. It takes a lot of time. You cannot convert a challenging customer overnight. In my experience, I've had several of these come across, and I would say that the moment they came across, they've just been champions for us, right? So focus on that long term. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. And there are some customers I would share that I have worked for almost 2 years, but not able to let's say get them around, right? But that's okay. Not every person whom you want to chase will want to work with you, and they have their own reasons. But keep trying. For 2 years, I tried at one company for a particular thing. It didn't work out, but I didn't give up. one of the ways to improve business communication is to understand the business parlance and the business nomenclature of our customers. So this has been a great learning for me in my previous company, and in my current company also. I'll try and kind of incorporate. I'm still in the learning phase here, but what I realized is that the nomenclature which we were using at the company and the nomenclature with the customers were using were not matching. So what we would end up telling them would not really resonate with them. What they would tell, we were not able to map in our scheme of things, right? That is when we spend a lot of time with our customers to try and understand. And then what we would do is, irrespective of, forget what our nomenclature was, when we put it across to our customers, we would change that nomenclature to what their nomenclature is. So essentially what happens is, in that room, you are talking the client's language. That's the most important thing. Clients only understand your language. They don't understand your language. And what happens most of the times with sellers is, we become comfortable with our own language and our own nomenclature in the company, right? Because day in, day out, we are talking about that. What we don't realize is that the person across the table is alien to that, right? So your ability to be able to scale down, scale up, or whatever is required, but to be able to come to that level. For example, when we talk to kids at home, right, we don't necessarily use the same vocabulary which we use talking with our friends. There are some words we'll break down for them to understand, right? Or maybe longer sentences for them to understand in their context. As they grow up, then we can elevate the way we talk to our friends is the same way we can talk to our kids, because then they're able to understand. So this would be my advice, that please know a lot more about your customers, what nomenclature they use, what words, phrases they use, what attributes matter to them, and in your conversations, in your presentations, in your discussions, just use them, right? And keep your nomenclature and everything to yourself for your internal discussions.